Unless you've been under a rock, you know that there have been huge bushfires in Australia. So I thought that in this video I'm going to go into some of the ways of displaying bushfires and seeing them from satellite imagery. So I'm going to look at how to see the hotspots and also how to create a really cool bushfire image and maybe animation. We'll see how things go. The obvious place to look is Australia at the moment. It is February 16th, and as far as I know, the fires have kind of died down quite a lot because of rainfall. But we're going to check and see if there are fires burning in New South Wales and Victoria. And we're using NASA Worldview, which is free online. You can check it. And what we get is the default, which is Terra Modis, which is the current satellite. This is, roughly speaking, this is a morning pass. The other two are, I believe, afternoon passes. So what you want to do here is, what we want to do is to have a look and see if we can see fire and thermal anomalies. So you go to the add layers, click on fire and thermal anomalies, and I'm going to go for Terra. I'm just going to click day and night, day, and let's see what comes up. So this comes up with, you can see hotspots up here in, I believe that's Queensland, and some more in Queensland. But as you can see, there isn't much going on in New South Wales. And one of the things that's good to do here is to put on the coastlines and place labels, so we get a bit of a bearing. So now we can see Sydney, Newcastle, and all this. So can't see anything here. So that's great news. There are no fire signatures being detected at all from the Terra Modis over in New South Wales or Victoria, but we're looking for fires, so we're going to go back to when there were fires. Oh, you just drag the scroll bar along at the bottom, bring it back, and I've already been looking here, so these images have coming up quickly, but usually they'll take a bit of time to load. And I'm going to go back to the New Year's burst, as there was a huge outbreak around New Year's. And now when we look at the 1st of January, no, this is the 31st of December, now we can see all of these fire signatures coming up in New South Wales and into Victoria. And look at the smoke. My God, just craziness. For more detail on using NASA Worldview, please check my video on using NASA Worldview. It's in the tutorial section of this channel. But I'm just going to show briefly. You go to camera. In order to create an image, you go to the camera and then download, select your resolution and download, and you'll get an image. It might take a bit of time depending on the resolution. And there it is. And you can save this, of course, and do what you like with it. You can also download KMLs if you want to bring them into Google Earth, which allows you to do tours, and that may be something I'll look at in another video. And of course with NASA Worldview you can go back days and see how things evolved. So the fires weren't so big on December 29th, but a storm system moved through, picked up the winds, and then it just blew up like crazy on the 31st of December and into the 1st of January. Right, so we want to look at these in a bit more detail, so I'm zooming in just to get a bit more detail, and then you can see all the fire signatures and the fires burning. And this is really great detail, but we can get into higher resolution detail with the Sentinel-2 and other satellites which have more detailed resolution than these ones. But in order to do that, we're going to have to switch to another viewer, and that is EO Browser. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've opened up EO Browser, which is here, and it usually starts on Rome in the map. But if we scroll out and we can go over to Australia, over to New South Wales, and I think I'm going to look at the Sydney fire and see what we can come up with here. This was a massive fire in this national park. So Sydney's down here, and I've just zoomed in, and I'm going to first show what you can see when you don't log in. So EO Browser has the option to register, and then you get more options, and you're really going to want to register for this if you're someone like me who wants to get some more detail, because I'll show you the options you get with that. But I'm going to start with no registration, just standard, put it in online, and this is what you'll get. Alright, so the day we were interested in is January 1st or December 31st. Let's take a look at December 31st and see if there are any images. So it's already will be selected to have Sentinel-2, which is the most detailed of these satellites. And we're going to want to put the date back at 2019 and December 31st. And I'll go through to 2020 January 1st. As I'm going to go to second, no, I'm going to go to first. And then you just search. Simple. And you can see we've got hits coming up. The satellite loops, satellite images are coming up on the side here. And there's nothing for January 1st, but we do have images for the 31st. So I'm just going to click on Visualize and get this up. So you can already see that there are lots of bushfires in this picture of the 31st, and this is in the morning of the 31st, so it's before the really big outbreak that occurred later in the day, or began later in the day. But the plumes are getting going and blowing in this wind, as you can see. So you can also see the huge area that's already been burnt, because these fires had already been burning for ages, since before December 31st. Now, this is very detailed stuff. So first of all, I'm going to show you some detail of some of the... Whoa, what's this? Okay, how about we look at... Oh no, there's this one. Yeah, this is massive. Okay, so it was getting going down a little bit further to the south. That's what it was. Alright, so if we zoom in to Bateman's Bay, I'm just going to let this load. Okay, it's loaded. So, as you can see, it's kind of... It looks really cool. You've got the fires blowing up, and they're becoming pyrocumulus clouds, and condensing, reaching condensation, and it becomes very bright. This is a general thing with these images, as they get overexposed when you have bright clouds. But they have made it super easy for sorting this out. You just go to Show Effects and reduce the gain a bit, reduce the gamma, and that should pretty much sort it out. Yep. There we go, and this is really a pretty outstanding image of a pyrocumulonimbus cloud. And I remember this one, yeah, crazy. I mean, I remember seeing this earlier. So it is kind of nuts. Right, so we've got this really cool image of Sentinel-2. How do you get it to your computer? Well, of course, you can just screen grab it or whatever, but if you go by the standard options, and we're not logged in at this point, this is just the totally free one. Go for basic, and that will actually download an image, and it just takes a little moment or two to get it up. Here it comes, and action. Here it is. Okay, it takes a little while. Okay, I had a few issues there, but essentially if it doesn't download the first time, just try again. But it should work. And you get your image. So let's open that. Where is it? There. So yeah, there you go. You get an image with the basic non-login version. So now let's check the heat signatures. Yes, let's do that. I've returned to the image we had before of this amazing pyrocumulonimbus, and if we go to the paintbrush, is the visualization, and this gives you a number of their predefined options for various other imagery up on the side. Now the one you want to look at for fires, without getting into too much technical stuff, is actually false color urban. Click on that, and that will bring up another image. And this one will have the infrared fire signature, and oh my god. Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I have seen this before, but it's shocking to see again. Now, it's important to remember that these are not fires. This is not showing you the fire, this is showing you the infrared heat signature. But it gives an indication as to where the fires are, obviously. You can actually see the flames of some of the really largest fires from the visible imagery, but it's much, much harder. But anyway, you can do the same thing, get the image if you want this infrared signature. Now there are some other methods for getting more detailed imagery. I recommend following Pierre Marcuse on Twitter. He's the expert and has some scripts on making really good imagery that combines different bands. But I'm just going with the basic stuff right now, and this already gives you a really fantastic image. Here's the broader view of New South Wales, showing the fires, and there's Sydney, and you can see the outskirts of that fire. So there are a few more things I want to show, and these will involve registration options. It's free. You can register using this somehow. You can figure it out. And so I'm going to log in now, and then we'll look at some other stuff. Okay, I am now logged in, and this means that over here on the right, the time-lapse animation button is ungrayed out. It is no longer grayed out. That means we have access to time-lapse functions, and this is really a great thing, not only for producing time lapses but also for finding images that are relevant. It's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is look at this fire. There's Sydney. Where is Sydney? Where's it gone? Oh, there's Sydney. Okay, so I'm going to look at this fire up to the north. Now it doesn't look like that much down here, but actually look up to the north and you'll see this huge fire line, and all of this in here was burnt up to 31st of December, which is what we're looking at here, right? Yeah. Okay, so what you want to do is I'm going to put the screen focused on this fire that goes basically, this is the outline of the burnt area, and we're sticking in the urban view to see the fire signatures. And now we can go to the time-lapse function, and you just click on the button and it'll start by going back 1 month, and this fire has been burning for more than a month, so I'm actually going to go back 2 months. So you go down to October, and I'm going to go to October 1st. I don't remember when this fire got started, and then we're going to search. Now it's going to start with this sliding bar at 50%. That means that it is filtering out clouds. When it's cloudy with 50% clouds, it'll filter out those images, although it will not filter out the images that are basically not in the scan like this, or not fully in the scan. But so you have to click each one of these ones that are white in order to remove them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm doing it right now. Do it quickly. I'm also going to remove ones that have cloud. I'm going to leave it. For the moment, I'll just leave these cloudy images in. And get rid of these ones. So there we go. That was quick, easy. So we now go back to October, and our first image available is on the 7th of October, and then we go through to the 31st of December. 2 months of images, and these are the ones that are left. Now that we've done that, we can go down to the bar down the bottom, and you can move through the animation. Now when you do this, you'll see the fire expanding out. So if we go back to here, the 27th of October, there was actually, doesn't appear to be any fire at all. And then on the 11th, the 1st of November, you can see the fire in here appearing. And as we go forward, you'll see the fire expand out. So there it is in this region. As you know, it's not that clear. You can zoom in and out or whatever later, but you get the idea. And then there's the fire on the 6th of December and other pieces over here, and it's expanded like crazy. By the way, the scale is up here, so this is 15 kilometers. So this fire just by itself is maybe 25 to 30 kilometers wide in this direction. So you know, you can work out how big this is. Very big. And then it goes forward, up and out. So there you go. I mean, you've got like the animation really good. I'm gonna just remove some of these cloudy ones, and then I don't want to remove too many, but so I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then what you do is you just click download, and this will give you a GIF, and you can do what you like with it. So if we open that up, we've now got our animation, and it's at 1 second intervals, I think. or is that 1 second? Yeah, so you can adjust the speed of your GIF down here. You can increase it frames per second, 5 frames per second if you want, and you can test it out here. Press the play button. There we go. The other really useful thing about this time-lapse feature, as you scroll through, is you can see you can pick the images, the dates when there's a really good image. This is a really good way of finding a really good image. So in this case, probably the one with the most active fires is actually on the 6th of December. So if we get rid of this, so there you see the date. I mean, there's a bit of cloud in here and smoke and whatnot, but the fires look, the heat signatures look the strongest. So I'm going to close this. What was it? Oh, I almost forgot. 6th of December, right? Okay, so you just go to the date, go to the 6th of December, and then we can get the full resolution image for that day and see it in more detail. And there it is. And now we've got this, we can also go back to the true color to have a look at what it looked like in the true color imagery. And maybe it might be interesting to see if we can actually see some flames here. Because it was so active, we might actually be able to see the flames. So I'm going to actually zoom in on one of these and see if we can see something. And somewhere really active, like here or in here, we may just be able to see something. Yes, I think so. If you just look in the middle, you'll see some red in this region and here, and those are the flames being seen from space. Pretty sure about that. And also up here you see the red. Sometimes it's a little clearer than this, but it's not clear at all, so it gives you an idea of what the difference between actually seeing the fires and those thermal signatures we were looking at before. So there are also possibilities for seeing animations of the fires ongoing during the day. So those previous images are all sort of one a day type thing, and or not even one a day sometimes. But what about seeing the fire in action? Well, you know, we've got RamMB Slider here, and the issue with RamMB Slider is that it doesn't have a huge archive. It goes back just a little bit, going back to the 10th of February. So that's not going to be, that may be enough. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, it doesn't really go back far enough to see the fires, but there is another option, and that is the Himawari NICT viewer. And for that, all you have to do is type in himawari.asia into your browser, and bada bing, here it is. So I'm going to go full screen, F11, and it will come up with today's image. 16th of February, date is up here. And we want to look at the 1st of January. Or why not we look at 31st of December? Because that will fit with the imagery we had for the Sentinel-2. Right. Okay, so there it is. And it's going to come up with 20, I think the timing is in Japanese time because I'm in Japan. It may pick up your computer's time and do the time zone of where you are. I'm exactly sure how it works, but anyway, you can scroll back along the bottom, scroll through the day, and you can already see the incredible amounts of smoke down here. Now, Himawari 8 on this viewer is it's a little bit more funky. It doesn't zoom in as much as the RamMB Slider viewer. The detail is very good, but it's not quite as good as RamMB Slider, I think, although it looks very pretty. But how about looping this? Well, it's a bit of an issue doing loops with this, but the way it works is click the three dots up in the top right, go to autoplay settings, and this gives you an option to set start time and set end time. And I'm going to click on loop. Oh no, okay, so you can drag the bar down at the bottom to say the morning, and then that can be your start time, and then you can drag it forward to the evening, and that can be your end time. I'm going to click on loop. Now this is where things get a little bit screwy, because this is going to load really slowly, and it's not going to load on my computer. In order to play it, you have to click the sort of this thing down here. Okay, and then it should play. Now make sure the bar is a little bit back from the very end in order to get it to play. So it's loading up the images now. So this is what the loop is gonna look like. An option in order to speed it up is to kind of capture the whole thing using a screen capture thing, and then speed it up in video editing in order to get a full loop. So actually what I'm going to do here is just let this load, and then I will speed it up. So the trick is to load up all of the images first, takes a bit of time, and then because it's on loop, it'll loop back through all the images, and then it should be at a somewhat more regular interval, and the images should be a bit clearer. And then you can screen record that and then speed it up in video editing. Now usually there's one image every day that is a blank image. Don't know why this is, but it just is that way, and you'll see it in a minute. And so you actually have to chop that out of your video. There it is. So you have to chop that out from whatever software you're using, whether it's KDN Live or Premiere or whatever. Okay, I hope that gives you some starting points about how to find wildfire, space imagery, satellite imagery. And yeah, please like this video and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and you may find other interesting stuff on this channel. I've tried to put in some cards in the video of some relevant videos, but please check out whatever. And see you in the next one.